Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another Saturday live edition of the unboxing. First off, looks like we got the camera backwards. Get that resolved. Wherever that is. There we are. Big news as far as I'm concerned. Hot Toys has pretty much told us the house party protocol is a go. Um, with the announcement of the Mark 21 Chrome diecast. So it's been my opinion that the reason they quit doing the house party protocol was because of this guy right here, the Mark 7 diecast that was coming out. They redesigned totally this figure completely, size, abilities, and neatness on it. He's just super neat. And so many of the house party protocol figures are based off of this guy right here. And so they stopped short of making, I think it's 3 unique figures. I don't remember how many unique ones we didn't get finally. Mark 16 Nightclub, I think, was one of them. Mark 37, the gosh, what was the name of it? Hammerhead, I think was the name of it. The one that was under the underwater one, and then several of the other fillers. For instance, the Mark 8, the Mark 10, Mark 11, etc., etc., etc. And all those figures are heavily based off of this Mark 7 figure. So the announcement of the Mark 21 diecast, which was made, I think, Wednesday night for me, is huge as far as I'm concerned. There's no need to make this figure because it's such a minor player in the entire scheme of things. I mean, it just gets a little flash in on screen, if even that. It's even hard to tell that that's really what it is. Some people have confused it with the Mark 20 Python when it makes its appearance on the screen in Iron Man 3. So it's not even a hugely screen seen figure in the first place, or suit, however you want to look at it. It is cool because it's the gold color. And there is a reference in Iron Man 1 when he has to figure out how to keep from de-icing about using the gold plating and something about being ostentatious or something. I forget the word that he used, and decided not to go with a totally gold colored suit. And that's where he said throw some hot rod red on it. Now, that's the original Mark 21 over there. High altitude suit, I think, was what it's classified as. And it came in this gold and bronze and copperish configuration, which is cool. Then, for I think it was a Chinese New Year or something, they announced this Mark 21 Chrome. And holy cow, what a big improvement it was in regards to the paint apps. A lot of other customizers started offering chromed figures. They were painting the chrome paint on Mark 3s and Mark 4s and many other pieces as well to mimic this configuration of this suit. This Mark 21 Chrome has been probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite suit out of all of them, for real. I really like this Mark 21 Chrome. It is really a beautiful, beautiful piece. So it's been my opinion that if they release or announce, like they've done, the Mark 21 as a diecast, which is what this is, then the house party protocol is back on the table. Because again, there's no need for this. None. It's the easiest one, however, to make in the house party protocol line because it's simply just a repaint, total 100% repaint of the Mark 7. 100. There's zero difference between these two suits. None. Now, they've upped the ante on that, on this Mark 21 that's coming out. First off, it's chrome. So now we're getting this. They're just passing right over this, going straight to this. It's a little bit different chrome. On this piece, the chrome pieces are only the gold pieces, the faceplate, the chest, and the little thigh pieces there. That's it. However, on this piece, there's going to be a few more chrome pieces on it. And this is, for the most part, just shades of gold. The Mark 21 diecast chrome has also shades of the brown. So it actually appears to be a combination of these two in the shading of the figure, with the chrome pieces in addition, and more than just one piece chromed, but I mean one shade chrome, but it appears that they're chroming 3 shades. The entire piece is not going to be chromed out. It's going to be a few pieces just like this one is. But holy smokes, it's going to be a great piece. And because they simply did that, I'm telling you, that's why the house party vertical. Now, I'll get to the point where they upped the game on it. The Mark 7 diecast, they included these pieces which open up for the little mistlets or whatever that shoot out of them. Now, on the Mark 4 and 6 diecast, these little areas light up. They didn't, to the best of my knowledge, my memory serves me correctly, this Mark 7 doesn't light up there. The Mark 4 and 6 light up in the chest as well. If I remember correctly, the Mark 7 does not. This Mark 21 chrome diecast lights up here on the little arms here. He's $405, and he's available at Sideshow as an exclusive item, 1 per customer item. Whereas this guy was only available in Shanghai Disney, if I remember correctly. And I paid about that for him when he was only like a $200 figure. This dude was pushing over $400 in order to get him, because I had to buy him from somebody who would go to the store and buy it and then ship it to me, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I kid you not when I say this has been probably my absolute all-time favorite figure because of the paint scheme and just how beautiful he looks. So this new Mark 21 chrome diecast, I think, is going to probably outclass him, outscale him, outdo him, and he will probably become my second favorite figure. So when this Mark 21 chrome comes out, which is supposed to be coming out like in January or to March of next year, so we're talking about just a few months. We'll have to wait like 2 years or whatever it was we waited for this Mark 7 diecast. And it's because simply it is just a repaint, except they've put the lights in here, so they've upped their game a bit. So I'm super excited about that. And I obviously it's been pre-ordered, and I will be very happy to get it when it arrives. So I wanted to bring all these out and share that with you in case you hadn't heard the news. I can't imagine you guys hadn't heard that news. And like I said, it's only available through Hot Toys exclusive. It's a Hot Toys exclusive item, so you're not going to be able to get it through the other sellers of Hot Toys products, but only Hot Toys exclusive dealers. So if you're an Iron Man fan, jump on it. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a Mark 7, only better, and it's a beautiful piece. I tell you, I love my Mark 21 chrome. Love it. I can't imagine going wrong at all. So today's show, we're going to be doing the Mark 4 holograph figure, which was actually showed as a plastic figure by Hot Toys, gosh, nearly 10 years ago. And I don't know how many of those were in actual existence, maybe just one. I know that Terrence out in I think he's in Singapore, a huge Iron Man collector who's had many of the figures made for him. I don't think there's many, if any, of the House Party Protocol, he does not have custom built for him. He has custom built had custom built for him the Mark IV holograph from years ago. There was actually two of them, a green one and the red one, and they never made them. And I didn't think for 1 second they would have made them now. So I was quite caught off guard when they made this Mark IV holograph. And I'm almost hoping that they make the blue and green one as well, which is the other one that they made in addition to that. But of course, being a full-on gotta collect them all Iron Man collector, it had to be brought into the house, no doubt about it. And one of the things I found interesting was it has die-cast pieces in it, and they did not call it a die-cast figure. It doesn't have the MMS numbers D number associated with it, although it contains die-cast material. And it might be because of the number or the amount of die-cast that's included on it. It must not be enough for them to consider it a die-cast figure. Same thing with Hulkbuster, the Mark 44 Hulkbuster. The original Mark 44 Hulkbuster that they had planned on making had no die-cast in him. He was all plastic. They then reinforced him with die-cast pieces before he finally was manufactured for production. The initial announcement of him way back in 2015, there was no die-cast pieces in him at all. So as time progressed and they made more and more enhancements and improvements to the figure from the initial prototype to the release of it, one of those were the addition of die-cast pieces on it. So that's now actually two Iron Man figures that have die-cast material in them, but aren't considered die-cast Iron Man figures. Neat little sleeve. We had a sleeve similar to this with the Mark VII Stealth or Chocolate, depending on which version you were able to get a hold of. And those two armors are identical. The Mark VII Stealth and Mark VII Chocolate are the same. It's just that one came with a base that said chocolate on it, and it came with a t-shirt. And you would have had to have bought it from the store. I forget the name of the store in, I think it's in Hong Kong that sells that. So neat little box. Again, it is kind of reminiscent of, where did I see this box before? I've seen, there was another box that did something similar to this. I'm trying to remember, was it also the Mark VII Stealth? It wasn't one of these, though, I don't remember, where it opened sideways. But this is really neat. It's like the inside of the suit, you know, or a circuit board, just a regular printed circuit board. Stark Industries all over it. 100408. October 4th, 2008. Could that be what that is? Was that when the first movie came out? Does anybody know what 100408? I bet you that's what it is. I bet it's October 4th, 2008. Or maybe 2010, April 8th. I bet you if we did some researching, we would find that 100408 has something to do with the first movie. It may have nothing to do with it at all. It may just be some numbers they've thrown on there. It would be interesting to see if that has anything to do with anything. It's all over, all these numbers here. 000000100408. I guarantee that means something. Toy Mafia, Save on Mason, Jake, how you doing? Matt. By the way, welcome and thank you, Patreon supporters, for your support, your contributions, helping out the channel. It is loved immensely, and I thank you guys for your continued support for that. You Patreons are huge, huge. Another thing, by the way, I happen to have my Gwen out here. This was from the who was it that made this? I forget now. The little kid's toy suit that I put onto. This was actually a Peggy Carter body, a regular articulated body. I had the other one I put on a Fison, but this is the was it Young Rich Toys that made this head? I don't remember, or was it Bullet Head? Anyhow, what's been irritating me is she doesn't have her piercings in her eyebrow, so I've been trying to find something to put on her face there to replicate the piercings on her eyebrow. And everything I've considered so far is just too big. And if it's small enough, it's not three-dimensional enough. Simple enough, I could just take a magic marker on dot dot and put two little dots there. But I don't want it to look like moles. I want it to look like the piece of jewelry that it is, which are the eyebrow piercings on her face there. So if you guys have any hints or leads on that, let me know. That's why I have her out of the shelf. I was trying to figure something out with that. And so she is there in the process. My wife, by the way, is in the hospital again. It's crazy, man. She goes in there for something minor, an infection in her toe, or what they thought was an infection in her toe. And now they're claiming she's having respiratory distress and cardiac issues and kidney failure functioning problems. And oh my God, I don't know. Sometimes, the cynic in me says, when they find out that you're fully insured, which of course, supposed to be every American is supposed to have insurance now with the Affordable Care Act. If you don't have insurance, you're supposed to pay a $4,000 fine for not having insurance. And which I don't understand when they talk about pre-existing conditions, because a pre-existing condition only exists if you're not insured. The way a pre-existing condition works, and I know this because I was a plan administrator for healthcare industry, insurance industry for many years. And a pre-existing condition only exists if you don't already have insurance. So if you transfer insurance companies or providers and you are already insured, there is no such thing as a pre-existing condition. You're already covered by it. Now, on the other side of the coin, should you be, for whatever reason, not covered by any insurance currently, and you get insurance through a company or whomever or however, and they determine that a condition that you have is considered pre-existing, you have to sit it out a year where they supposedly won't cover any treatment on that. Doesn't mean they won't treat you on it, but they supposedly won't cover it. And after a year of you being insured with this pre-existing condition, then they have to cover it. And sometimes what you can do is you can find insurance companies, actually not sometimes, you will find insurance companies that will cover your pre-existing condition. There's always a stipulation to that, though. Those insurance companies cost more money to use. So if you have a pre-existing condition and you're not insured right now, which I would not understand how, first off, that could even be possible with the Affordable Care Act. And for those that can't afford insurance, then you would obviously must fall into the category of being provided free insurance through Medicaid because of your financial situation. So if you should somehow fall into the category of being into a situation where you can't get insurance through your pre-existing condition, and it's only be that one condition, I can't imagine that for 1 second, because there's insurance companies that will cover you no matter what, but you'll pay a higher premium in order to have that pre-existing condition covered. And after a year, then you can transfer to any other insurance company with your pre-existing condition, because it's no longer considered pre-existing because it has been covered. There's no such thing as a pre-existing condition if you're already covered by insurance on it. So if you're born with a problem, or you have a problem before you had insurance, they could consider that pre-existing. Pre-existing insurance is what it means. If you're already insured and you change plans, it's not pre-existing. You're already insured on it. Changing plans, you don't lose coverage for that pre-existing condition. There's no pre-existing condition if you already were insured. But the Affordable Care Act that went into plan through Obama, some people call it Obamacare, there is no such thing as a pre-existing condition anymore, because now you're covered. And if you didn't get insurance, you have to pay the $4,000 fine. And if you have a pre-existing condition, if you have a condition that is such a case for you, that you feel that you need to have medical coverage for it, I can't imagine for 1 second why you wouldn't have insurance. So I'm really sick and tired of this pre-existing condition argument, because it really bothers me, because if you have insurance, then it's not considered a pre-existing condition after you have it for 1 year. And then you can transfer to anyone else. So when you get insurance, if you didn't have insurance in the first place and you get insurance for your first time in your life, and they say that that's a pre-existing condition, you'll have to find an insurance company that will cover that, or you pay it out of your own pocket. It's your two choices. Either pay the higher premium to get the insurance company that will cover it, even though it's a pre-existing condition, or you pay for it out of your own pocket. After a year of you being insured, it is now no longer considered a pre-existing condition because you have been insured for a year. And you can then go with any other insurance company that would be less expensive, and it will cover your insurance. So if you're afraid of them changing the government mandated insurance or whatever that they do, or you having to change providers, if you're already insured, there's no such thing as a pre-existing condition anymore if you've been insured for a year. So there's a lot of misinformation and lies and baloney that's spread out there, and fear that they try to put people through. And it really upsets me that people hear a blurb on the news and then somebody will say something about pre-existing conditions. Yeah, that may have been a problem before everybody and their brother had insurance. And with the Affordable Care Act, you either have to have had insurance or you paid a $4,000 fine. So I don't understand. It's beyond me that anyone would claim they have a pre-existing condition now. It doesn't make any sense. It's not meaning something that you have before you went to see a doctor. It means you had a condition pre your insurance. And so the insurance companies aren't willing to cover it. But after a year of you being insured with it, they have to cover it. So I don't know how the hell I got on that tangent. I guess because of my wife being in the hospital right now kind of bothers me. Oh, that's neat. The smoky clear figure base there. So if they change to Medicare for all or some other insurance plan or whatever, if you already have insurance to the Affordable Care Act or any other insurance company, you don't have a pre-existing condition. You're insured. It's pre-existing is existing previous to insurance. That's what it is. And if you had insurance for a year, it's no longer a pre-existing condition. It is now you. You don't have the pre-existing condition for the rest of your life. It's only existed previous to you having insurance. The Affordable Care Act's been around for more than 1 year. So just want to let you guys know, stop panicking. Pay attention to what's actually out there. Don't listen to some news blurb or some commercial that starts spouting a bunch of baloney. Do your own research. Look it up online. I'm so tired of these being issues and talking points and stipulations and requirements and arguments for political people that spend their entire life in politics, 47 years, and don't get anything done. They start spouting something, and you hear the term and you don't really know what it means. And then next thing you know, you're all angry. Well, I got a pre-existing condition. I got a cough. Yeah, well, do you have insurance? Yeah. Then it's no longer a pre-existing condition after you've had that for a year. Do some research. And you'll be cool. I talk about some stuff sometimes that has nothing to do with anything. I got so much. Sometimes I just ramble on. I start rambling. I can't shut up. April 14th, 2008. Okay. So maybe April 10th, 2008. Maybe April 14th, 2008 was the actual, like, the Friday release or whatever. And maybe April 10th was the, what was it? 10-4, what's the number on here? 10-4-8? So maybe April 10th was like the pre-day, because I used to review movies. I reviewed movies for many, many years. I used to get this, gosh, from 1988 to 2007. I didn't pay for a movie. I got to see them all before the movie came out, and I went to go preview the movies, and I used to preview movies and review movies, and I got to see every movie for free for, gosh, almost 20 years. And it was a great gig. I really loved doing that. I wish I could get back into that. Anyhow, so most of the time, the reviewers' movies were premiered on Tuesday before that actual weekend, and that gave us an opportunity to go in and see the movie and then write up our review so that the rest of you could know the movie, whether or not you wanted to go that weekend to see the movie. And I'm wondering if that's what April 10th, 2008 actually is, if that was maybe the Tuesday or Monday night premiere or whatever, that the actual date of the movie came out. Because that's what it was, right? 10-4-8? Look again. 10-4-8. So I bet you that's what it is. Bullethead, thank you on the Gwen Stacy. Thank you. Thank you very much for your thoughts and your prayers for my wife. I hope so too, man. It's really frustrating to, it's difficult on the person being in the hospital. The food sucks. Even in a good food hospital, it's always never going to be the way you like it. You know what I mean? You don't get any rest because every 2 hours they're in there poking you, prodding you, turning you, spinning you, checking you, doing your blood pressure, making sure you're okay. So there's no rest, and there's no good food. There's noise. You've always got noise from some other room, or somebody screaming or yelling or dropping something. It's not a restful place. Hopefully she'll be out soon. And of course, then I stay here at the house, do whatever I need to do, work my job, take care of the house, and then go spend the rest of the night with her. And that's hard on me as well, because it's outside of my normal thing. You fall into a groove, you fall into a way of doing things. You don't like anything to disrupt that. Even if you're a chaotic person who enjoys a different thing going on every hour, you still want that chaoticness. And when you're now stuck into a hospital for 10 or 12 hours visiting your loved one or whatever, you've even lost that chaoticness. So it's so difficult. It's difficult on the person being in the hospital, and it's difficult on the loved ones to spend time with them. And thank you very much for your thoughts and prayers. And hopefully she'll pull through on this and get her butt back home where she belongs with me. She wants to be home, obviously. It's her house, right? Why would you not want to be in your castle? You built your castle. So I spent all that talking. I really didn't even look at the figure. I'm quite impressed. I'll say that. Quite impressed. I like the little blue for his arc reactor. I don't remember whether or not the original plastic one was blue also, that they'd made nearly 10 years ago. But there we go. So it's a blue lens, and looking there in the center of the arc reactor is a blue lens there also. Don't know if you can see that. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a blue light shining through there. I definitely am going to put the batteries in this guy. And I don't like putting the batteries in. They're such a hassle just to take them right back out. But I want to see him lit up. I want to see if they really light him up like they did with the Mark IV diecast. He feels really good in my hand. Um, I'm assuming him to be just like the Mark IV diecast release in regards to things. And the Mark IV has always been a cool one. Even the plastic ones with the little wrist forearm pieces, the missiles and all that that have come with it. I don't know why they painted the little missiles gold here. Okay. But then they painted this little missile, or didn't paint this little missile and made it the holograph. It's weird pieces they decided to paint and pieces they decided not to paint. And it's an interesting choice of why they decided which ones to keep holographic and not. I'm assuming that, there's screw holes or whatever that are underneath these that just aren't as appealing to look at if it were clear plastic. But then again, we have the little screw hole there. So, I mean, that's not really an excuse. I don't have any idea why some of them they painted and some of them they didn't. I'm pleased. As it is, it doesn't bother me that they painted some of these. It just seems weird. For real. Seems weird. Man, he looks cool. I mean, he really looks good. The helmet looks really neat. Love this faceplate. This, gosh dang it. For those of you that don't know, the reason I drop things so much is I lost feeling in my body several years ago. My entire body. You know the movie Kick-Ass, where he loses feeling in his body? Well, I beat him to the punch. I lost feeling in my body before the movie came out. And it's nothing like the movie. So anyhow, I lost all feeling in my body. They had to do a laminectomy in my neck to restore the nerve endings through my body. And they said that there's no guarantee that any feeling would return. And thankfully, the feeling returned to about 99% of my body. My fingertips, actually these two fingers on the inside, my first finger and my middle finger along this inside ridge here hasn't returned to full effect, and my toes didn't get full effect. So like the absolute extremities. But at the same token, I really can't tell how hard I'm holding on to something. Any of you that are in robotics or have studied robotics will know that the importance of having a robot arm being able to pick up something heavy and put enough grip to it to hold it, and at the same token have enough gentleness to be able to pick up an egg without crushing it. It's important, and that has to do with feedback. And if you don't get the feedback in your fingers, you don't know how much you're actually holding on to something. So I think I'm holding on to something strong enough to keep it in my grasp, but I don't get the full-on feedback to my brain from my fingertips to tell me that I'm necessarily holding on to it as tightly as needed to maintain the grip on something. So that's why if you've ever noticed that I've dropped things a lot, it's literally because my brain thinks I'm still holding on to it tight enough for it to be in my grasp, and I'm not. So I can feel it. I can feel the items in my hand. I know that I'm holding on to them, and I can see them, obviously, which as well affects my feedback, but I just don't get the full-on effect that you guys do that have never been damaged or injured to know that I'm holding on to it enough not to drop it. So that's why I drop things. Anyhow, I was examining this faceplate, and I was going to show it to you guys. It's really neat. I really enjoyed how they did that Really, 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 really super cool. It's different than the Mark 7. Well, even the Mark 7 faceplate was full. Um, the chromium. What I'm getting at is this piece here. Let's get him down here. The Mark 7 Stealth or Chocolate had some transparent pieces on him too. He didn't do the faceplate for that matter. And I even bought the fade out pieces for him. But they did, for instance, the chest plate is transparent. Okay, so this isn't the first time we've had transparent pieces. If you can see there, it's actually transparent. Okay, they didn't do the faceplate, however, so the faceplate's solid on the Mark 7 Chocolate or Stealth or whatever you want to call him. But there are some transparent pieces, namely the faceplate and the little chest pieces here are transparent. And then, of course, there were customizers that sold fade out pieces for him too. And I bought those, which is neat. I'll show you that. So this is same figure with what were sold as the fade out pieces. So you literally would just replace the arm and the chest pieces with the literally clear plastic pieces. So this wasn't Hot Toys that sold these pieces. It's a Hot Toys figure, and then from a customizer they were manufacturing these clear plastic pieces and the arm, for instance. And really happy to get a hold of that, and then the thigh pieces and put them on here. I think it really looks really cool. So this isn't the first time there's been transparent pieces on these figures. Or even made by Hot Toys, transparent pieces on the figures. But it is a neat effect, I'll tell you that much. That is a fact. Robert, how's it going, man? Sean Connery 2020 sucks. Yeah, it does. Sean Connery died? Oh, you're kidding me. When did that happen? Yeah, this is my COVID haircut, man. I'm gonna have to get it taken care of. At least it's winter now and it'll keep me warm. In the summer, normally you cut your hair short to keep cool. Sean Connery died? That sucks. Fabio. I'd like to get that Tony Stark body with the arc reactors. Yeah, the MK100. Yeah, I agree. That would be extremely cool. I've batted that around often for having just a couple of them no matter. 90 years old, making me think my age, 50. All of us living borrowed time. Yeah, for instance, when the United States created Social Security made you be able to collect it at age 65 with an early payout at age 62, you weren't supposed to live that long in the first place. So think about that for a minute. I don't remember when it was when they created Social Security, 30s or the 40s. But at that time frame, that was the end of our lives. That was the life expectancy of the average American was not age 65. They had no intention of ever paying any of us. They figured the small percentage of those of us that lived past 65 would just be peanuts, considering they were taking the money from every working citizen in the United States, and we only had to pay out like 10% of us. They're like, heck, this is money in the bank. And so add that up real quick. Every one of us that are looking towards age 65, just know that that truly is borrowed time, because the federal government never expected us to live there in the first place. So anyhow, the rest of the helmet looks really cool as well. Everything on this, for the most part, has been made transparent. There you go. Sorry about that. Here's the bottom of it and the top. Traditional helmet. Pretty neat that they did the gold across the whole piece there. I don't remember seeing that on any of the other helmets, Tony Stark helmets. I guess that way they can control the amount of light, where it's light shining through instead of it's just shining through the entire piece. Normally what they do is they just put one light here for the entire eyepiece, just one LED right in the center in it, and it glows through both eyes. So by painting it gold, they can still put just the one light there and then control how much light goes through the eyes. So that's pretty cool. They've also changed the magnet positions in the helmet. So it used to be the magnets were a lot longer and thicker. And so what that would allow you to be able to do would be able to hold the faceplate open on the helmet as such. Okay? By them going to the smaller magnet, you don't have that far that you can hold the faceplate open. And I imagine on this piece, you really wouldn't be holding the faceplate open anyhow. There's no Tony Stark sculpt inside of it. So they went with a smaller magnet. I'm assuming for that reason that you're not going to be holding that faceplate open, and all they're doing is just holding the faceplate on there. So that's interesting. Chadwick Boseman was a kid. He died from cancer, didn't he? He was in his 30s, wasn't he? And you know, when you read that story, it appears that he was dealing with that through all of his Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So add that up for a minute. So if I remember correctly, when I read the article about Chadwick Boseman passing, and I'm almost positive it was cancer that he'd had, that from even the first movie that he was in, Captain America: Civil War, he was dealing with fighting the cancer back then. So what a trooper! What a hard worker to give us such an amazing performance that he did while battling, you know, the disease that he had, and eventually took his life. And it's so sad to do that, but he really touched us all. I can't imagine anyone watching any of the movies that he was in, any of the movies, let alone the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, realizing the battle that he went through and still seeing the performance that he was able to deliver. Holy cow. Get a drink of coffee here. I don't like my coffee hot. My wife loves her hot coffee, so it's nice. You know, she will get the hot coffee, the freshly made hot coffee, and will enjoy it fresh and hot. I'm fine with it being a day or two old. I have no problem with that. Throw my flavored Tarani's non-sugar flavoring in there. Throw in some half and half. Hey, I'm good. It's like a chocolate milkshake or something to me. It doesn't have to be iced, just not hot. I don't care for hot drinks. So let's see how many batteries go in here. 3. and 3 in the back. And 3 in the biceps. So I'm really super curious if he lights up the same as the Ford Mark IV and Mark VI diecast do. Let me show you these. I don't know why I'm not showing this to you. Sylvester's in his 70s. I would assume both of them are in their 70s. All right, so there's page 1. Sylvester and Arnold. When you think about that and think about Arnold getting drop kicked, where was he, in Africa last year at some competition, some event to help young people, become physically active. Somebody decided to go behind him and drop kick him, and Arnold literally took it. He's like, he just thought somebody had bumped into him. He had no idea that he'd actually been totally drop kicked. Give you a look at the instruction manual here, so if you ever need to go back to reference it. Sometimes I have to go back and reference it, and I'll just pull the video up to see what it was that I was supposed to be doing on it. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is in his 50s. Starbucks. Yeah, better than Starbucks because it's cheaper. So funny, I remember the first time I'd heard of Starbucks was, I think it was like 1999, thereabouts. Now, I know Starbucks has been around for a lot longer, but I went over to a friend's house one night that I hadn't seen in a while. I was visiting an out-of-town friend at his house, and he says, hey, you want to see something funny? And I said, yeah. So he turns to his wife and he goes, hey. And this is late at night. It's like after 10 o'clock or something. And he's like, hey, you want to see something funny? I'm like, yeah. He goes, hey, baby, you want some Starbucks? And she like lit up like a little kid on Christmas. She's like, yeah, let's get some Starbucks. And I was like, what the hell is Starbucks? And she's like, it's the best tasting coffee in the entire world. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, man, this stuff's great. He goes, ask her how much it is. I said, how much is a Starbucks? She goes, I don't know, $5. I'm like, $5 for a cup of coffee? And she's like, yeah, but it's super delicious. And my friend looks at me and he goes, how much is a cup of coffee at McDonald's? And I'm like, 55 cents? And with free unlimited refills? And he looks and she goes, yeah, but this coffee's the best in the world. And I'm like, for $5, it better be. So that was my introduction to Starbucks. My wife loves Starbucks. I'll buy her Starbucks every now and again. It's not really $5. It's like, I don't know, $3 when I buy her a cafe Americano. But still, considering. And now McDonald's sells McCafes. Are these all the same? Okay, no, we have 2 different sizes. So the 621's in the head and the chest. And the 521s are in the arms. So the larger ones for the head and the chest. And mind you, these don't last worth a flip anyhow. So you can't leave them in your figures because they'll rot and explode and destroy your figure. And then on top of that, they don't last long anyways. So that's why I don't like putting them into it. And now we've got the battle with the magnet. So I've made a video about how to put these into a helmet. There's so many different ways you could try to do it. This neat little toy that came with, I think it was a King Arts figure. I don't even know if King Arts is even making figures anymore, are they? This little guy works pretty good. Shove your batteries in there and then push them out with that. See if we can do that. How did my wife and I meet? Playing online video games. She loves war games and Call of Duty and Battlefield and all of that. And she's actually a really used to be a really good player. And so we met playing video games and realized that we enjoyed the same things, talking smack about the same people, blowing up the same shit. So we got together. I'm not her first husband. She's not my first wife. Seems to be pretty common nowadays. But I can tell you from my experience, if you're curious, um, don't compromise for anybody. Because she's not my first wife and I'm not her first husband, that's obviously meant that we had relationships that weren't to our likings or to our advantage or reasonable. And I know that I worked hard, I thought, in my other relationships, and she says she worked hard, and I believe her in her relationships. And in our relationship, we don't work at it. And that's my opinion now on things in regards to that. They say you have to work at a relationship. Dude, I worked my ass off on some of these relationships and got nowhere. If you really have to work at it, I mean, work at it, you're probably in the wrong relationship. But that's my opinion on things. I'm not saying that you don't necessarily have to do things. I do things for my wife. I do things for ourselves. We work for each other. We try to make each other happy, but it's just easy to do. And my opinion is, if you are the one that's really working at it, there's a problem. Because I got to tell you the truth, man. My wife makes me happy, and she says she doesn't work at it, and my wife claims that I make her happy, and I don't work at it, and that's just it's the best relationship I've ever had. So, and we've been together now, 10 years. So it's the longest relationship I've ever had. There he is, lit up. Kill these lights. Hot gamer chick. That was my wife. Hot gamer chick. And yeah, that's not too far from reality. What you're seeing there is how much it's bleeding through. It really bleeds through a lot. It doesn't necessarily shine only through the lights or the eye sockets, if you will. It definitely lights up the whole face and the head and everything. Let's kill all the. Well, we're going to kill them all. Yeah, I can. I kill them all. Let's kill everything here. So it's really bright, no doubt about it. And it literally shines through every aspect. That's the bottom of the helmet. There where the neck piece goes in case you're curious. That's the back of the helmet. So yeah, it's really shining through. It's not like it's a controlled situation. It's definitely lit up on everything here. And of course, that's the disadvantage of it being transparent pieces. You're going to get that. Again, another sound reason not to even put the batteries in it in the first place. But I am kind of curious. I'm truthfully hoping for one day somebody to make a reasonable AC power adapter for these. Soap Reactor made one. The gosh darn thing costs $100 for one Iron Man. $100. And that was back still when Iron Man figures were $200 a piece, thereabouts. So here it is, you spend $200 on a figure, and then $100 to AC light them up. Yeah, that's insane. That's just way beyond practicality, especially when you have 50 freaking suits. $5,000 just to light them up. So I'm hoping one of you geniuses out there will devise a way of AC powering these suits for us. Really looking forward to that day. I've seen some really neat, promising things, especially in this field of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi power or NFC or whatever you want to call it, of electricity being transferred Tesla style without a direct connection. And maybe it'll motivate one of you geniuses out there to design a Tesla style transference of power to these. That would be great. I mean, looking at your Iron Man figures lit up is wonderful. They really look really good when their lights are illuminating. What in the world's the problem here? There we go. Putting them back together because I'm not going to keep the batteries in them. I'm not going to. There's no sense in it for real. There's no sense in it. We'll put his head back together. Let's put some batteries in his chest, though. And again, I'm expecting the same thing bleed through, but we'll find out. Mark 47, I was just notified that my Mark 47 is being sent to me soon. The first Mark 47 that I bought 2 years ago, whenever that came out, I loved. Really good looking figure. And when my wife died last year and then was brought back, and we had a lot of bills to pay over and above everything else, I had to sell a couple of my figures to pay the bills, and I sold him. And I regretted doing it at the time, and I was like, doesn't matter, we'll get him back sooner or later. And then Hot Toys decided to re-release the figure. And anytime they re-release a figure, I have mixed feelings on it. When it's a full-on re-release, like they did with the Mark 43 and now the Mark 47, and the Whiplash, where they make absolutely no changes to the figure whatsoever, and it's a full-on re-release, it really bothers me because any collectability on it at that point is shot right out the window. So, people collect these because of the collectability factor, that maybe one day it'll actually be worth more money than you paid for it. And if they just are re-releasing them every time you turn around, then you're not really making any more money on it. And there are those of you that will make a comment, which is, I don't even understand how you can even make this comment, that you should never sell a figure for more than what you pay for. All right, keep that in mind when you sell your house. Buy your house, live in it for 30 years, and then turn around and sell it for the same thing you bought it for. Ha! When you're ready to sell it for what you bought it for 30 years ago, give me a call. I'll be happy to buy it from you. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. Pretty rare that in 30 years' time, a house is less than what it was when you bought it. So, yeah, these are supposed to be collectible figures. And there's a handful of times, I mean, a real small handful of times, where Hot Toys has announced an actual number of how many they've made of certain pieces. But 99.9% of the time, they're pretty tight-lipped on it, especially when they are re-releasing them. So anyhow, I had mixed feelings about them doing that, but it now has given me an opportunity to buy the piece again. Gosh dang it. And so I ordered two of them. And Some of you have made the comment that your opinion as to why they re-released that figure is because Hot Toys loves us so much that they've seen that people were scalping the Mark 47 figure because it's a really neat figure for many reasons, and they wanted to discourage scalpers, so they re-released it for that reason. And I hate to tell you this, Hot Toys doesn't love you that much. Because if they did, the Mark III Secret Project would have been re-released many years ago. That dude's a $2,000 figure all day long. And it didn't cost $2,000 when it was brand new. And Hot Toys is not re-releasing that. And it is a really neat figure. And it was another one that I sold to pay hospital bills. I sold my Mark 47. I sold my Mark III Secret Project and my Hella. And I plan on getting Hella back, and I plan on getting that Mark III Secret Project back, even if I have to pay $2,000 for it again. I will get those figures back in my possession. But I think the reason the Mark 47 has been re-released is because we're going to see it in the Black Widow movie, which, by the way, now has been changed on its release date to, don't remember whether it was March or May of next year. So it was supposed to be like March or May of this year. I think March of this year, 2020. Maybe it was May, I don't remember. And then they pushed it to October, and then November, and now it's pushed out to 2021. The Black Widow movie is, in case you guys didn't know. All right, so we got the blue lights under the chest there. Just like the Mark IV and Mark VI diecast. Hopefully that'll show it. Let's kill these. Did that show it? Do I need to kill the other light too? But yeah, just like the Mark IV and Mark VI diecast, it has the light up chest there as well. And yeah, that's a blue light, I believe. Can't really tell. I'm assuming it's a blue LED. It might be a white LED. I can't really tell for a fact if that's a white LED or a blue LED. Pardon me, but I'll say that that wasn't the case of the original plastic one that they made 10 years ago or 8 years ago or however long ago it was. So that's neat. That's pretty cool. And I'm hoping then as well that we're going to get this same effect in the arms. So let's get some more lights back in here so we can see what we're doing. I need to put those on a remote control also. These batteries back out of here. Again, I mean, I'd heard people say, you know, that the batteries will rot or whatever. And I let it go in one ear and out the other. Didn't pay much mind to that. Until one day I was sitting in here, or actually I was in the other room, and I started hearing pop. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I had a box full of these batteries, and I'll be doggone if they didn't start exploding. So instantly, I started removing batteries out of my Iron Man figures. And now I share that with you all to make sure that you remove your batteries from your Iron Man figures so they don't explode on you. and rot out your Iron Man. Which is interesting because on the older Iron Man figures made by Hot Toys, the under, I don't remember what number it was they stopped them at. I think even this Mark 21 Midas came with the batteries in the figure already. And that's why you'll find on even still some of them to this day, but you'll find when you are going to the areas where the battery compartment is on it, a little slot there. And that's because they would put that little piece of paper or plastic, I forget what it was, that you would pull out of it to let the current flow to be able to light them up. And then you would just flip the switch on. You just had to pull a little piece of plastic out there to get the battery out. Oh my goodness, this looks like there's a battery in it. Oh my God, yeah, look. I still got my batteries in this Mark 21. Jesus. Good thing I checked them, huh? But these actually came with the batteries in them. And so for fact, the if you were to buy an unboxed, originally sealed, older Iron Man figure, just know that it's quite possible that the batteries may have gone bad inside of the suit. Hopefully not. And these are fine. Oh yeah, let me show you. There's no corrosion here inside the unit. Okay, so we're good and clean there. But let me show you this battery. It's a good thing I found this. I thought I'd gone through them all. Evidently I did not. Let me show you this. There's corrosion all over this. These guys are about to pop. Can you see the bottom of that? That's the batteries just came out of that Mark 21. And these would have been the original batteries in this figure, you know, 6, 7 years old, whatever it is. So definitely do not keep your batteries in your Iron Man figures, for fact. So yeah, these guys are going right to the trash. Every one of them are corroded on the bottom. They're literally about to pop. They're literally about to pop. So I'll check the rest of him before putting him away. Now, the bad thing about these plastic Mark 7s, definitely not trying to discourage anyone from owning one because they're neat. They are they're differently designed than the diecast figures. So this, I don't know what you would call them, flaps or wings on the back, they operate differently. So you have on these, you know, they operate as such, okay? Whereas on the diecast, you operate as in this manner. So it's two different designs. So I'm assuming then what happened was, as they went back to redo the figure, they realized that they had done the little flaps on them incorrectly. So these are neater because they open up more than these, but these definitely open up differently. So the little bitty pieces open up in this manner compared to that manner, and these back pieces really open up, whereas that's as far as those back pieces go, and this is as high up as these pieces go. So it's different and neat in that regards. And it's still a cool figure, no matter. But one of the things was these elbow joints are rubber, and they will get sticky and messy, and sometimes even the little cables that run between where the batteries go in the bicep to where the light is gets damaged in the elbow. So I've had to do repair work on this one specifically because of that. The little wire was broken, and I had to run a new wire in there. So um, that was a problem with these old plastic ones as well. Was this elbows wasn't designed very well. So on the new ones, they've resolved that problem. But you can't go wrong getting an older plastic one either, no matter. Love all my plastic ones too. Trying to put him so he's out of the way. You don't want to put him back yet. I probably should put him back. I'm trying to keep these guys out of the way whilst I play with my new one. If Don Cheadle wasn't picked as Rhodey, you know who great as Rhodey? Eddie Murphy. Well, who was it that played him the first one? It was Terrence Phillip. Was that who played him in the first movie? And evidently, he knew he wasn't going to be playing him. They knew that Don Cheadle was who they wanted from the first, but didn't change, in my opinion, his performance. He still did a great job. There's the back flaps opened up on the Mark IV here. They're pretty nice. Let's see, where's the batteries in the arm? I'm pretty sure they're in the bicep. Might be in the forearm. They're in the bicep. Oh, we also have the front ones here. Little missiles there. And interchangeable missile pods here as well. I like that in Marvel Avengers when Iron Man shows up to back up Captain America and Black Widow and all that in the Avengers jet when they confront Loki, and he lights him up with all his missiles and everything. And of course, the Mark IV plastic works differently than this as well in the Mark III also. Open the armor piece at the area shown. They don't show you how to take the little piece off. You're supposed to pry it off, and it doesn't want to pry off. I'm almost positive it's the bicep. Sure looks like it's the bicep. Ah, jeez. Well, I'd rather a piece be difficult to get off than for it to fall off. In reference to the Mark IV plastic, all these little forearm pieces just fall clean off all the time. Just fall off. I would like to see them redo the Mark II, Mark III diecast now that they've resized them with the Mark 4, 6, and 7, and 5. They need to redo the Mark 2 and Mark 3 diecast figures because they are sized incorrectly in comparison to the 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's one thing I'd like to see. So I literally have a box of all of these batteries. So if you guys are ever wanting to buy batteries for your Iron Man figures, look me up. I'll sell them to you cheaper than you'll be able to get them from your battery store. I'll tell you that much. Because I'll say this, I only sold those 3 figures because I had to in order to pay bills. I have no intention of ever really selling any of my figures. They will be willed to my descendants. But by that point, the batteries will no longer be doing their job anymore. Again, this is another one of those pieces that's only for like your hardcore Iron Man collector. You know what I mean? It I guess you could say it was a screen scene armor, but not in its full one-to-one scale. It is a neat armor though, and it will go up here on my, I'll call it my Grail shelf. This is where my Mark IV gunmetal is, and my Mark IV neon, and my Mark VI neon, and my Mark III stealth is, and where my Mark III secret project was. So that's where he will go. Mark IV has to be one of my most populous suits. I mean, having the most versions of Mark IV in my collection. By accident. It wasn't like, you know, Mark IV is my favorite suit or anything. It just happened to end up that way of having so many of them. There's a process of which one you're supposed to take off first when doing the little forearm pieces here. See if we can, I've shifted them, so now I don't know which one is left and right on them anymore. That's an L. That's an R. So that would mean that this one must be the L. That's an L. And I don't see the number on this one. L. So inside of them is a little bitty, you're not going to be able to see it in the camera, but it says L1, L2, L3, and L4. And even on the original older ones, they say that as well. And there's a process of which piece you're supposed to take off first and which one's supposed to go on first in removing these from the forearm here. So let me look at the instruction manual to see which way it says they are to be removed. So it appears to be, I'm assuming, looking at this, it doesn't say how to be remove them. I think one of the other instruction manuals tells you, but it definitely appears that the missile one and the smallest one quite possibly could be the first ones to come off. So we will work with those and see what happens. No, they don't want to come off. So let's try the side ones. So this one is L3. It's the first one I've taken off here. The one I'm looking for, and that's L1. That's the other one that came off. So L1's the underneath forearm, and L3 is the top forearm. I'm curious if they will light up like they did in the Mark IV and Mark VI. And I'm hoping that they will. Yeah, oh yeah, there's the light. There is the light. All right. So that's exciting to see. Let's get these little guys on here. You also want to be careful with these little missiles because you'll break the little doors off if you're rough with them. I'm talking about these little guys here. You'll break these little doors off. So you definitely want to be mindful of your handling of your Iron Man figure in that regards. Is this not that piece? No. The other missile piece. So especially when you're pressing them on, you definitely don't want to push on these little doors. You will break them off. Then you'll be angry at yourself. So you want to press on the main body portion of that. All right, let's light them up. Let's get some hands on them here. Oh, oh yeah. Oh, that looks beautiful. That really looks nice. That's worth the effort. See the blue on him there? That really looks good. That's nice. Yeah, I'm liking that. And then a blue lens on this white light here. So that's really, 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 really nice. So if I were to spend $100 on a soap reactor AC light up kit, which I don't even know if you can even buy anymore, Mark IV, Mark VI would definitely be one of the ones to light up for fact because of all the neat lights on them. Definitely, for fact. Oh yeah. You won't be disappointed in lighting these guys up. The holographic one or the regular. And I'm talking about the diecast pieces. They really did a good job putting those lights. And back to the Mark 21 Chrome diecast piece that was announced. It lights up with that ring around the arm, which I don't remember this diecast piece doing that. If it does, guys, let me know and tell me, yeah, it does. I don't think that it does. but the Mark 21 does. Jeez. Little grabber, Harbor Freight Tools, $10. Little lifesaver. Well, that I dropped because the screw was keeping the piece up too high in there. I didn't have it placed properly. That had nothing to do with me not holding on to it tightly enough. It's nice to be able to remove these screws without them being torqued down. I'm under the impression a lot of times that in the manufacturing, well, that was because I couldn't hold on to it. The manufacturing plant that puts these together, they must be using power tools to screw these in, and sometimes they just crank the hell out of them, and you can't get the screws out. Can't back the screws out to put batteries in very easily. I've struggled many occasions trying to back out screws in order to put batteries in figures. So it's nice to be able to access the battery compartment without having to fight a mechanically torqued down screw. Now he didn't come with the laser beams. And that was because that piece wasn't placed on there very tightly. I thought I put it on there tightly. But the original Mark, oh, it was because the little wrist gauntlet piece knocked it off as I lifted the hand up in order to put it into an arc reactor pose. Pushed the little forearm piece off. Let's see, how do I have this? I have like that. Looking at the 4 and 6 neon up there as to how I have them posed. So I'm not going to go through the articulations on this. I'm going to imagine it's going to be the same as the Mark IV diecast. I'm really just going for the coolness of this. There's no need to wear out his joints to see how flexible and bendable he is, because we're past that on this design. It's not a new design. It's the same, and I don't need to wear out my figure to test his posability. He's not going to be articulated out. He's going to be in just a regular standard museum pose of pretty much this. That's what we're going to do. It doesn't appear that he comes with, there you are. He does come with articulated hands. So good. Let's swap out this fist with an articulated fingers. Because I want to give him a naturally, appearing finger pose. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been the Mark IV that came with like this curled hand where it's just, you know how you naturally hold your hand. Your hand just wants to naturally kind of be in this kind of curved position. So I pose my hands on these guys using the articulated fingers into this kind of a naturally relaxed, curved thing. You know, we don't hold our hands flat out like that, and we don't keep them in fists. Our hands are just kind of, when they're relaxed, they're just kind of there. And so that's how I like to pose. As you can see here and here, the hands are just kind of relaxed. Unless I'm having them in a, you know, a thruster pose as such, or I don't know why I have my other Mark 7 here in fists, but for the most part I like to just have them naturally posed as such. So yeah, this is a welcome addition to the collection. Definitely glad I picked them up. And he looks really good. But like I said, he's definitely not your average collector's piece. It's a lot of money to be spending on just a piece that, if you know, if you're not buying all of them. So some of you will never pick him up, and this may be your only chance to see him. And I hope you enjoy him. But he will definitely be very welcomed with my other Iron Man suits. There's not many that I don't have. So I only have one of the Mark 1s. I bought the Mark 1 version 2.0. Didn't buy the first Mark 1, and it's an inferior product anyhow, so there's no point in it. Also didn't buy the original Mark 3s. I have an original Mark 3, like 123 or something, but not like the 65 or whatever number the first Mark 3 was. I don't have that. Same thing with the Mark 2. I don't have the first Mark 2. I have the Armor Unleashed Mark 2. And then, of course, the War Machines. I don't have the Milk War Machine or the plastic War Machines, the Mark 1. So I have the Mark 1 War Machine I have is the Diecast. I never bought a plastic Mark 1 War Machine. And let's see if there's what other pieces I'm missing out on. I think that is it. And of course, I sold my Mark 3 Secret Project. So other than that, I do have all of the Iron Man suits that have been released. I don't have the chocolate and the white chocolate. So I have the Stealth and the Arctic or Sub-Zero, whatever they were called. And like I said, the only difference is the base plate had a chocolate on there, a 10th anniversary chocolate or something. It was only difference, exact same suit. Oh, and I don't have like the Mark 6 Avengers movie promo edition, which, if I remember correctly, the only difference on it was the base plate again lit up, and they only made like 6 of those or something, a really small number of those. Terrence has those. Singapore Terrence has those. He's got them all, but I have more or less all of them in that regard, other than those like 4 or 5 or how many it was I just named off. So of course I'm a completionist, and I don't feel I need those other pieces because I have representations of them that are well enough or even better. For instance, the Iron Man Mark 1 2.0 is better than the Iron Man Mark 1. There, I see no need whatsoever to trace that down. Same thing with the Mark II. The Mark II not the Armor Unleashed, but the Mark II, plastic Mark II, came with the Tony Stark head sculpt. And the Mark II Armor Unleashed came with the Don Cheadle head sculpt. So from Iron Man 2, where they fought. So the first Mark II is from Iron Man 1. The second Mark II, the Armor Unleashed Mark II, is from Iron Man 2, and it comes with the Don Cheadle head sculpt, and it comes with the ability to put him out on the table so that Justin Hammer can, sell the pieces that he's going to turn that into the War Machine Mark 1. And so that's the difference. And the original Mark II doesn't bust apart like the Armor Unleashed does, but it comes with a Tony Stark head sculpt. Whereas the Mark II Armor Unleashed comes with the Don Cheadle Rhodey head sculpt. So let's see what else we got going on. I got the Venom Pool in stock. I've got the white suit Iron Man, and that was another reason that I think we got the Mark 47 was because of the Black Widow movie. I really believe we're going to see what's going on with that wedding suit or whatever they want to call that, where he appears to be used in India wearing a lei or something. I've got that as well, which I'll unbox in a couple of weeks. But I think there's going to be something in Black Widow, and I may be wrong. I mean, I don't work for these guys. I don't. Nobody's sending me scripts and telling me the secrets of the thing. But I have a feeling that Mark 47 is going to make an appearance in the Black Widow movie. And I also have a feeling, and I've said this many, 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 many times, that we're going to get an answer about the Mark 48, 49, where the Hulkbuster 2 lies in there, and where that missing suit is between 47 and 50. And I think we're going to get that answer also in Black Widow. So I think that Robert Downey Jr. is going to make an appearance in the Black Widow movie. And I'd really hate having to wait so long for this movie. It's been forever and a day for this movie to come out. Holy cow. So that is my opinion why the Mark 47 was re-released, because we'll see it in Black Widow. And Barbie is making the black and white Black Widow figures. And remember, Barbie is like an 11-inch doll. And I've considered tracking down that black and white Black Widow suit in the Barbie and feistening it, but I'm not sure if I really want to do that or not. So it's just something I've considered doing, but I don't think I will. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I've done that with these. I've put the 11-inch dolls onto these for like the Gwen Stacy, and I really love these Gwen Stacys that I've done it to. That one's on a Feisen, and this is on the original Peggy Carter body. I put Peggy on a Feisen, and I put this in here. You can't see her knees or her elbows, doesn't matter, but it doesn't fit as well as the Feisen does. The Feisen fits a little better, but I like that. And I've thought about doing that with the Black Widow, but I'm not so certain I want to go that route and do that with the Barbie Black Widows that are, from my understanding, available to be purchased now. And so you can add that to your collection if you wanted to do that. I go back and forth on it. So what have I been missing here on the chats? CBS Sci-Fi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Halloween, that's right. So it boggles my mind when I think of countries that actually don't celebrate Halloween like we do here in the United States. It's what I've known, you know what I mean? So no offense or disrespect to you if you live in a country that doesn't celebrate Halloween the same way we do. And you guys have a lot of interesting customs as well that are unique to your country that we don't celebrate here. But I really feel that Halloween is one that you guys are really missing out on if you don't celebrate it similarly or in a manner that we do here in the United States, as well as however it is that you celebrate it there, if you even celebrate it there. But what the neatest thing about Halloween here is you put on your costume, you get to be something else, and for little guys, like 12 years old and under, you get to go to your neighbor's house and get free candy. I mean, like shopping bags full of free candies. You just come back with a full Walmart bag just full of candy. And it's any candy. It could be chocolates or hard candies or lollipops or bubble gum or Twizzlers or sour sweet and sours and tarts and you name it. You just get a whole slew of candy. And that is the neatest thing about it. The little guys really, really, really enjoy that. And some of my fondest memories as a kid is Halloween, believe it or not. And getting the pants scared out of you when you're little, but people's haunted houses or the way their houses are decorated and all that. And I remember some of the neighbors had little microphones and are making spooky voices and yelling at you as you'd come through to get the candy. And it was just really a fun holiday for little guys, especially. And then adults get to enjoy it and they get to continue doing the cosplay more or less and go to Halloween parties and dress up and all that. And it's just a fun holiday, even though it's supposedly based off of, the dark side of things. And really, and then All Saints Day being November 1st is, this is All Hallows Eve. And anyhow, if you're missing out on the candy, man, I really think your country needs to celebrate Halloween like that, man. Even though it's not as big celebrated here in the United States as it used to be. I mean, when I was growing up, the entire block, the entire neighborhood, everybody was handing out candy. It would be like 1 out of 10 houses or even less, maybe 1 out of 25 houses that was not giving candy out back then. You just went door to door to door to door to door. Now, like on my street, there's only like 2 houses on the entire street that decorate for Halloween. And as a matter of fact, the last 2 years, none of the kids came to our house at all. So 2 years ago, we bought all the candy, gave out none. The year before that, we had like 10 kids come to the house. And then 2 years ago, like no, one kid came to the house and we just gave her like a whole big old handful. Just here you go, blah, take all the candy. And last year, we didn't even bother buying candy. And it's unfortunate that, in my opinion, the media has destroyed Halloween in that regards. Talking about how it's unsafe and you don't know what your neighbors are giving you and all that bull. You're going to get a razor blade in your apple. I can't think, I don't believe there's ever been an actual reported case ever in history of kid getting a razor blade in their apple. But you'll see that. The news will broadcast that every single year. Make sure, moms and dads, you check the candy. You don't want to get a razor blade in that apple. Give me a freaking break. So now parents are scared to take their kids around anymore. So last year we didn't even buy any candy. Not buying any candy this year. I'm not even going to be home. I'll be at the hospital. But the kids just don't come out anymore. Now they go to the malls or the stores or whatever and get their candy from there. It's not the same. We've lost that interaction with the kids and our neighbors. And now with even COVID, they're even scaring us even more. Even though you have like a 0.0001% chance of getting it or some shit. It's ridiculous when you actually look at the CDC guidelines and whatever else in regards to the actual infectability of the true COVID is so minuscule that it's ridiculous. And, because they're grouping together both pneumonia and the flu with COVID as well. So all the respiratory diseases are now one in regards to their reporting as to the infections and the people dying from it. So on the average, in the United States, 80,000 people a year die from flu and pneumonia. 80,000. That 80,000 now is grouped in with COVID. So think about that also. So don't be scared out of doing things. I'm so sick and tired of this cancel culture. And Sean Long said, for instance, that recently somebody was going to buy figures from him, and because of Sean Long's political belief, they decided they no longer wanted to buy figures from him. And Sean has made just as stupid statements about how if you support this candidate or don't support that candidate, that he doesn't want to be your friend or whatever, and lean to that direction or whatever. And to see it come back on him is sad, because he's a friend of mine, and we don't necessarily see eye to eye and everything, but we enjoy collecting and we enjoy talking toys, we enjoy talking movies and all that. And it's so sad to see that is the state of things now. where two people who have opposing ideas now don't want to be friends. Where it used to be, if I felt one way and you felt another way, great. So we have differing opinions. Fantastic. I respect you. You respect me. We can have differing opinions. You can drive your Ford all day long, and I'll drive my Chevrolet all day long, and we're going to be cool with it. But now it's like, oh, you drive a Ford, and we'll come over and smash your car up and tell you how stupid you are, and that you need to go to hell, and you need to be kicked out of the country because you're driving a Ford or whatever. It's gone stupid, you guys. Get over it. My God. Beverly Hills Cop. Really? A special snow is to be in it, huh? I did not know that either. Yeah, the batteries are a problem, dude. I saw people on one of the spectacular streams talking about getting an email about in-game cap being delayed. I haven't got anything. I was wondering if you did. I don't remember if I'm getting my in-game cap through Sideshow or Big Bad Toy Store. I think I'm getting him from Big Bad Toy Store, and they really don't give me. I don't remember getting messages on that. I think I'm getting the 2012 Avengers cap from Sideshow. How's it going? Secret number? Just paid off Nebula as she's shipping soon. Just purchased a new TV. Whoa, nice. 55 inches, nice. PS5. And I've noticed they're making a digital version of the PS5. So, from my understanding, I guess now the PS5, you can buy the standard version, which has the ability to put the discs into it with backwards compatibility. And if you don't want to buy that version of the PS5, you can buy the digital version of the PS5, which does not have a disc player in it. And then if you have bought any digital version PS4 game, you can have that downloaded to your digital version PS5. So I guess that's to save you from having, a shelf full of discs or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how that digital version PS5 sells. And then, of course, there's the new Miles Morales Spider-Man game that's coming out with that. And I really still want to play the PS4 Spider-Man game, the most recent one that came out. God, what an amazing game. I've loved watching the YouTube videos on that. It looks really nice. And of course, I may have told you before, my wife was raised in New York City, born and raised in New York City, Long Island, a little suburb of Long Island, a little city on Long Island, New York. And so she's very familiar with New York. I've made many trips to New York, so I'm familiar with the layout of New York. I've walked around Central Park, and so it's neat looking at that and seeing how accurate it really is. New York is a beautiful city, beautiful city. If you ever have an opportunity to visit New York, if you've never visited New York, I recommend it. Just for the fact of just visiting there, for nothing else, just to be able to go there and just to see an 8 million population city of New York, and it's just a beautiful city. It really is. I wouldn't necessarily want to live there, but it's definitely neat to visit. It sure is neat, and the people, for the most part, I never had any problem with the people. The people always seem to be pretty nice, in regards to things. You would think a city is populated that, and you sometimes movies portray New Yorkers as hard individuals, and I never really had that much of an issue whenever I would visit New York. It was really nice. Really enjoyed it. So I'll be ready for the PS5. I really hope that I will get Whiplash and Nebula in before Christmas. Oh, yeah, they're going to be here before Christmas. It happens every year. You're going to see in the next 6 weeks, so many figures are going to start shipping, it's not even going to be funny. Matter of fact, figures that are slated for January are going to be shipping early. Your wallets are going to be crying in pain because all your figures are going to come in like right now. In the next 6 weeks, they're all going to start coming in. Figures that you had no idea are even coming are going to show up. And that's because it's Christmas time and they want to get them out there. And then after Christmas, we're going to have the dry up January. Nothing comes in January, February. It's going to be so dead It's going to be dead until the toy fairs start up again, and there won't be anything shipping, and nothing's going to be announced, and there's going to be weeks where we won't see anything, and that's what happens every single year. The good thing is, now with so many third-party manufacturers, I mean, 10 years ago, there wasn't that many companies making 1/6 scale figures or even accessories. Real small number of figures, companies that were making them. And now we've got so many new players that have come out that there are so many figures that are being released in so many different franchises that I think January and February are not going to be as dry as they have in years past, because there's going to be somebody, some third party company that's going to be releasing or announcing or selling or delivering or pre-ordering a figure during that time frame. And so that's kind of exciting. I want to show you my Miles over here. I struggled with this suit on him wearing his own merch suit. You know, like Peter B. Parker tells him, first off, don't wear your own merch, kid. His merch suit, I had a hard time getting it up over his t-shirt. So I finagled with it some more and now have it on there properly. I really dig this figure. If you guys passed on this, you really missed out. You really did. And I don't remember, and maybe I shouldn't have these on here. I don't remember if he had these. I remember Peter B. Parker gave him a web shooter as they're leaving Kingpin's corporation. I forget what the name of that corporation was. It wasn't Oscorp, was it? Couldn't have been. It was Kingpin's place. But I don't think he had both of these web shooters on. I don't remember him wearing the cape, but I think just for a quick second. But I thought the cape looked cool. But I couldn't get the suit pulled up over the shirt. But as it sat here over the last month or however long it is that I've owned this guy, I had no problem now, as the material relaxed, I had no problem pulling the suit up. Tying it in the back was work. It's probably spent an hour tying that into a bow tie, using the tweezers and everything. It was quite an ordeal for me to tie that bow tie up. So I'm pretty proud of that job I did there. The strings just weren't long enough to get them tied easily. So I literally was tying them with tweezers. I imagine, these surgeons that do that in your body. Think about that for a minute, using tools to tie a knot of something they're sewing you up with inside your body. It's kind of what it felt like doing that with my Miles here. So I was pretty pleased with myself. And I spent the other day watching the Spider-Verse movie again and some of the hidden Easter eggs and all that, talking about all the Earths that the Spider-Man came from, the Spider People came from, and Earth 616 is one of them. And Earth 616 is the main Marvel universe, in case you didn't know that. Errantly, in error, in Spider-Man Far From Home, Doctor Strange, Mysterio, told Nick Fury that they were Earth 616, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Earth 19999. 1999 is that Earth number. And he said, this is Earth 616, and it's not. And of course, he wasn't from an alternate Earth anyhow, so he was just lying to us. So he just made a number up. They just threw it out there because I don't know why, but it's not Earth 616. And we're assuming then, of course, that it must have been Earth 19999, the Marvel Cinematic Universe Earth. But as I was thinking about that, trying to figure out which Earth 616, which figure would have come from that, I first thought Peter B. Parker. That must be Spider-Man from the main Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then I was thinking it could, though, be Penny Parker because she's from like the year 3000 something. And so maybe it's Penny, Earth 616 in the future. I don't know. But supposedly, Earth 616 is one of those spider people. We know it's not Spider Gwen. We know it's not Spider Ham. And we know it's not Spider Noir because not those three are not from Earth 616. And unless they made an error in calling it Earth 616, it would have to either be broken, busted up Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker, Bum Parker, or it's Penny and Spider are from Earth 616 in the future. So I'm curious about that also. If you buy Spider-Man Miles Morales Deluxe, you get the first one. Yeah, and that's what I did. I bought the deluxe version of both of those from Young Rich Toys, I think has made them. So I've got all four of the Miles. I've got that one as you just seen, and this one. And so what I did here was I took the metal plate off of the base that he came with this and put it on the Spider-Gwen base because I have him posed with the bullet head Spider-Gwen, and I think that looks good. And then of course I then have the other two Miles here, the full-on Spidey suit Miles Morales, and the half suit Miles Morales. Now, on the prototype images that they showed us when you ordered this figure a year ago, or however long ago it was, they showed a head sculpt with half of the mask on the top of his head, and somebody, Soso Toys or Peter Lim Toys or somebody made that with Tom Holland. I need to get that head sculpt, but they showed that was going to be the case here, and it didn't get delivered. So a lot of times, the prototype images and the what's delivered are different, and that was one instance in that case. But the other Miles base, and I need to get a little Gwen Stacy nameplate made. I put here with Gwen because I have her posed with these guys. So this is how I have Gwen flying through the air, the bullet head Gwen Stacy right there. I like that little pose. What that's there's a lot of statues that are made for our collections, our fascinations. You can get 1/6 scale statues, and the reason I like the 1/6 scale action figures is because I get to choose the pose. And as time goes by, sometimes I'll decide I don't like the pose that he's in, and I'll change him up a bit. And that's the difference between a statue collector and a figure collector. And there's nothing wrong with collecting statues as well as figures. And it's just that statues, 99.9% of the time, you can't change their poses. Sometimes they'll come like an alternate head or an alternate arm or an alternate leg or something along that line. And then you can put a different accessory or change up the pose a little bit. But for the most part, the main difference between collecting a figure versus collecting a statue is that you can put your figure in whatever pose you want. You control the pose. What if you buy Spider-Man Miles Morales Deluxe, the game, you get the other Spider-Man one. Ah, that's good news, Save on Mason. Thank you. Because I was curious about that. So you're talking about the PS5? Is that where is the Miles Morales even out with the PS4? Is it only coming out with the PS5? Do you know? And which sculpt are you talking about? So, Save on Mason, do you know if the Miles Morales, or does anybody know if the Miles Morales Spider-Man game is coming out for PS4, or if it's out now, or if it's only coming out with the PS5? And that's good news to know that you'll get both, because I'm really am tempted, and I'm really tempted to get that. My wife would kill me if I bought that, but I think she would probably enjoy it, since her her cardiac arrest and her passing away. She has not played video games. She's tried. What a cardiac arrest is when your brain shuts down. A heart attack is when your heart either stops functioning or doesn't function to its level that it's supposed to. Okay, so your heart attacks your body for whatever reason. It's a muscle. It might be because your brain told your heart to stop functioning, or it might just be because your muscle is just so tired, wore out that it stops functioning. But for one reason or another, a heart attack is when your heart attacks your body, okay? A cardiac arrest is when your brain arrests the cardiac region. Your brain shuts down everything. And so that's what my wife experienced, as a cardiac arrest. And the main difference between those two is your heart may stop pumping, but your brain will still make you breathe. Your brain still says, hey, lungs, you need to be breathing right now. Okay? In a cardiac arrest, when your brain flips the switch, it's lights out, dude. Heart stops, lungs stop, muscles stop. You're done. You've done it like shutting off Data in Star Trek. Flip the switch, he's out. You turn off the light switch, you're done. And that's what she experienced with a cardiac arrest. And she was without oxygen for between 10 and 20 minutes. Why is that important to know? If it's less than 10 minutes, you're in this golden stage where reviving you or bringing you back to life or getting everything restarted, jump starting you more or less, is not a concern. It's you've okay. So let me back up. Having a cardiac arrest is huge. Okay, the percentage of people that live through a cardiac arrest is small. You have a 90% chance of not returning, period, from a cardiac arrest, because you're dead already. At the point where your lights are out, your lungs aren't breathing, your heart's not beating, your muscles aren't moving, your brain has shut down. There's no brain activity. You're dead. So if they're able to revive you within that first 10 minutes, for the most part, it's like the golden era. If you can come back from that, if you're one of those 10% of people that can come back from that, they don't feel that you're going to have that much of a repercussion. You're not going to have that much brain damage to you. Once you hit that 10-minute mark, that's when the brain damage, the lack of oxygen to the brain, starts killing the brain cells. And that's brain damage. And after 10 minutes is when it really starts happening. The brain starts really being affected. At 20 minutes, they, for the most part, are done trying to revive you, because in their medical opinion, the brain decay is so much so that if they were able to jumpstart you again, the odds of there being severe brain damage is huge. So much so that it's just not worth reviving a person after that 20-minute mark, because the odds of you being severely brain damaged are just immense. most people will say that they don't want to live if they don't have a quality of life. They don't want to be a vegetable or something to that effect. There's a lot of people that will say that if they're filling out advanced living will or whatever. They're like, let me go. If I'm not going to be able to have a quality of life, if I'm just going to be, unable to even know that I'm there or function in any capacity, just let me go. And so at that 20-minute mark is that mark. So when the doctors expressed how long she was out, they said she was out for between 10 and 20 minutes. So that means there's some brain damage, but we don't know how much. Luckily, what parts of her that were damaged was her ability to necessarily type like we type, and write like we write, and control her muscles with the strength that she used to have. Um, Cognitively, she's there. She's able to communicate perfectly well. Sometimes she has to speak a little slower. It's a little difficult for her to come to the words. Like, you hear how fast I speak. She used to speak just as fast, and she doesn't necessarily speak as fast as that anymore. So she's been cut back a little bit on that, but she's still there. She's totally capable of making her own decisions. She's not diminished her brain reasoning or her higher thinking or whatever. But typing and writing are extremely difficult for her, as well as getting around. There's no more running. She's not running for her life, no matter who's chasing her. That's gone. But so she doesn't get to play video games much. She's tried them, and like I said, we met that way, and it's just not enjoyable to her. She just can't react fast enough. Like when you're a first person shooter, if you don't pull that trigger before your buddy does, if your connection speed isn't as quick as your enemy is, if your computer's not running as fast as the guy on the other end of that who's sighting you, you're going to die. And so she doesn't have, that enjoyment anymore because she can't respond as quickly as she used to. And that really bothers her. And I'm hoping that should I buy a PlayStation, which I really have no business doing that I can say, hey, look, baby, look, you can swing Spider-Man through New York. And she might not get any kick in that at all, but it might be something that she might be able to handle. That's what I would hope. But I don't know. I don't have any idea. I don't have the time to play the game in the first place. She's got all the time in the world now, obviously. But that's where I am with that. PS4 and PS5. The 9th of November. No, wait. PS4, PS5. November 12th, I guess is the day you're saying that it comes out. Cool. So that's 2 weeks. Sweet. And the PS5 is coming out then, I guess, at the same time? Or is that when the PS5 comes out? So, anyhow, I ran my mouth at you guys for 2 hours. Thank you all for spending time with me, and I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. And thank you, patrons. Thank you, patrons. Especially thank you guys. And those of you who have corresponded with me with your mail and gifts. Oh my God, you guys are so great. When my wife came back, that was one of the things she was really pleased to hear, that you guys were there, because when you leave, you always worry that there's going to be somebody for your loved one. So she was so pleased to know that you guys were there for me. So thank you guys. I appreciate every one of you. I really do. You're welcome, Jake. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, yeah, next Saturday, we're going to get the Venom pool open. And I've also got 2 more Jow dolls coming. So I got my first Jow dolls a couple months ago, and pretty pleased with them. They're a Fison alternative. The breasts are much bigger than the Fison ones, and the skins are a different color than the Fisons also. So it gives you an opportunity to have a different variation of figures for your customizations in that regard. So I got 2 more Jow dolls coming. I'll be interested to see how they stack up and compare to the Fisons. So I don't know if I'm going to do those with the Tony Stark suit or the Venom. I probably won't get them by the time I open up Venom next week. but I might have them in time when I do the Tony Stark white suit in 2 weeks' time. If Tony Stark goes quickly, if I knock Tony Stark out in an hour, I'll bust open those Jow dolls. If I don't get him done, then I'll do the Jow dolls the week after that. So I don't know where we are in that regards. I've also got Star Lord coming, and I've got Mark 47 coming, and I've got the Captain America Old Soldier coming. So from the end of Endgame, where they find him sitting on the park bench, I've got that Captain America coming as well. So that's what's upcoming in the next several weeks. So that's either going to be, so let's see, we're looking at Venom Pool, Tony Stark white suit, Star Lord, or Jow dolls. So the third week will either be the Jow dolls. The second week will either be Tony Stark or Tony Stark and Jow dolls. Third week will either then be Jow dolls or Star Lord. Fourth week will be the Mark 47s. So 4 or 5 weeks away, depending on where the Jow dolls sit. So the Star Lord, then Mark 47, and then the Captain America Old Soldier. And then I expect I should probably be getting the Iron Spider at that point. And the Hot Toys version of that, I have the what's it called? The Sentinel re-edit Iron Spider, which I'm pleased with. I'm glad I have that. It wasn't never really a perfect representation of the Iron Spider, and I'm not talking about the MCU Iron Spider. I'm talking about the comic version Iron Spider, or in this case, this PlayStation Iron Spider. Sentinel made this Iron Spider, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. You probably have. And I really love it. And it looks very much like Iron Spider from the was it Ultimate Comics? I don't remember where he was. But it's their reimagination of him. So he's not necessarily to a true scale of what he would be. And gosh, I think he was $350. I don't remember. And I was very pleased to get him. And now Hot Toys is doing the PlayStation Iron Spider. And so I should be having that come as well. And so I'm still pleased to have this one. And he looks really good. I enjoy the pose that I put him in. And so I'll be getting the Hot Toys one, I have a feeling, in a couple of months. And we'll be going through that. And then, of course, Nebula as well. So that's what I've got going on. Emptying my wallet, keeping me broke, is all of those figures. It'd be interesting to see how the Hot Toys compares to this one. They did an interesting way of doing this, but his scale is just a little bit off. He's 1/6 scale, but I just don't like necessarily. It's not supposed to be an exact representation. It's more like an artistic impression of him. So they did a good job as far as that goes. And I'm glad to have him in my collection. He's 1/6 scale, and he represents that. And by the way, I changed out. So I put the Avengers Infinity War Iron Spider base here, and then I have my Avengers. I have my re-edit Sentinel Iron Spider with my Tom Holland Iron Spider up there on the bigger. Comes with a diamond base. This guy came with a big diamond base. So I have him up there. So that's how that turned out. So thanks for watching. You guys that get to watch the videos live with me don't have to go through all the advertisements. A lot of you complain about the advertisements. So just know that you've been spared the ads by watching it live with me. And also, but you won't get the clicks to the other videos. So check out my other videos. And thanks for watching. And I love every one of y'all. So what do we got? Next time, God bless you. Thank you very much. Love you guys. We'll see you. Peace.